When the nausea hit, it was a relentless, gut-twisting tide that sent me staggering to the bathroom, knees cracking against cold tile. My boyfriend, Julian, was at a company rooftop mixer, playing some absurd game that involved balancing a champagne flute on your forehead while his executive assistant, Sloane, cheered him on, her laughter a sharp, bright sound I could hear through the phone I dropped. Even as I vomited until the tang of copper bloomed in my mouth, he was texting me a blurry photo of them, his arms slung around her shoulders. "Wish you were here, Elise." Sloane's carrying the team. On the way home from that same party, the world splintered into screeching metal and shattering glass. Our sedan kissed a lamppost, a violent, glancing blow. Dazed, strapped to a stretcher in the swirling red and blue lights, I felt Julian's grip on my arm. Not warm with concern, but cold, impersonal. "You're wasting ambulance resources," he hissed, his breath smelling of gin and tonic. With a startling yank, he pulled me upright and off the padded gurney. "You can walk. It's just a fender bender." Before I could protest, he turned and guided a sobbing Sloane onto the stretcher in my place. "She's in shock," he told the EMT, his voice thick with fabricated worry. "She hit her head." At St. Francis Medical Center, Sloane was whisked through the glowing ER doors with Julian trailing behind, his hand on the small of her back. I stood alone in the glaring fluorescence, the echo of his dismissal a cold stone in my stomach. I found my way to the OB/GYN wing, my steps slow and heavy. "I need to schedule a termination," I told the nurse at the desk, my voice surprisingly steady. "I don't want to continue this pregnancy." Later, in a sterile exam room, I was struggling into the thin, papery gown when the door burst open. Julian stormed in, his designer suit rumpled, his face a mask of irritation. He hurled a small, woven bracelet onto the counter beside me. It was made of simple brown thread with a single, tiny blue bead. "Elise, what is this tacky thing doing in my briefcase?" he demanded. He scorned anything he deemed sentimental or superstitious, but 2 months ago, I'd hiked for hours to a secluded hillside chapel to have this prayer bracelet blessed. He'd laughed when I gave it to him, called it a charm for the gullible, and tossed it in a drawer. And now, mysteriously, it was in his bag. I picked it up, the threads worn soft. "I didn't put it there." He snatched it back, examining it with a frown before tying it hastily around his own wrist. "It must be Sloane's. Some silly wish bracelet she was prattling on about. Probably meant for us to make a wish together at the party." The casual intimacy of the statement hung in the air. Hi guys. Please subscribe to support the channel and get all your completed novels and full stories in one place. I reached for his hand. He recoiled, suspicion narrowing his eyes. I ignored it, my fingers icy as I took his wrist and tightened the knot, securing the bracelet snugly against his skin. He finally looked at me, really looked, taking in the hospital gown. "Why are you wearing that?" "Just a minor procedure," I said, my voice light as air. He opened his mouth, likely to accuse me of seeking attention, but a nurse entered, holding a blood draw kit. As she swabbed my arm, Julian's phone buzzed with a FaceTime call. Sloane's name flashed on the screen. He answered immediately, turning away. "The hospital's so scary at night, Jules." Her voice trembled through the speaker, a perfect, fragile tremor. Without a word to me, he was gone, brushing past the nurse in his hurry. The needle slipped, scoring a line of bright red across my skin. I hissed in pain. He didn't glance back. I signed the consent forms. 30 minutes later, it was over. A text flashed on my phone. "Wait for me out front. Don't be dramatic." Snow had begun to fall, delicate flakes that melted on the warm pavement. I waited on a hard concrete bench outside the main entrance, shivering in my thin sweater and coat for 2 hours. He never came. 2 nurses on a smoke break gossiped nearby, their voices carrying. "That handsome man from the ER earlier, he's been in the ICU waiting room all night with his fiancée. So devoted." "I know. He brought her a whole basket of treats from that fancy patisserie downtown. Lucky woman." I scrolled through my phone numbly. Julian had changed his social media profile picture to a cartoon wolf with a crown, a perfect match to Sloane's new avatar of a princess fox. I booked the earliest morning flight home to Vermont, then called a rideshare and left the hospital alone. At 3 a.m., the key turned in the lock. Julian slid into bed beside me, smelling of winter air and Sloane's distinctive jasmine perfume. In the darkness, his hand moved, seeking the familiar curve of my belly. I turned away, giving him my back. He clicked his tongue in sharp annoyance, stormed to the bathroom, and slammed the door. For 9 years, that sound, that tiny, irritated click, would have sent me into a spiral of anxiety, had me scrambling to apologize for some unknown offense. Tonight, I stared at the moonlit wall and felt nothing. Just a deep, hollow quiet. Pathetic, he muttered when he emerged, then left the bedroom to sleep in his study. The next morning, I found a wine glass on the coffee table, the rim stained with bold, berry red lipstick, a shade I never wore. I didn't question it. I made a cheese omelette and sat at the sunlit breakfast nook. When he appeared, chugging ice water against a presumed hangover, he watched me, waiting for the inevitable fuss over the glass, the questions about his late client dinner. My silence unnerved him. "Elise, did you hear me?" I said I had a headache. I nodded, keeping my focus on my plate. He tossed a sleek, black cashmere overcoat at me. It landed in a heap on the floor. The scent of jasmine wafted up. "Your birthday present," he said, not meeting my eyes. I picked it up. I in one pocket. My fingers closed around a velvet ring box. Inside was a stunning solitaire diamond. He snatched it back, a flicker of panic on his face. "Wrong pocket. Yours is in the other one." From the other pocket, I retrieved a large, ornate emerald brooch, old-fashioned and heavy. I held it in my palm for a moment, then placed it on the table between us. "It's lovely, but I have nothing to wear it with. My birthday had been 5 months prior. Give it to Sloane. It suits her style." He was stunned into silence, then regrouped. "There's a jewelry auction at the Met in 2 days. A preview gala. You can come with me." I declined. Sloane had been his public plus one for every significant event this past year. The thought of standing beside him now, playing the ignored girlfriend while he whispered with her, felt absurd. "No, thank you. You should take Sloane. She'd appreciate it more." His anger, always simmering close to the surface, flared. "Look at yourself. Do you hear how petty you sound?" I said nothing, sipping my tea. His phone rang, Sloane, in a breathless panic. She'd locked herself out of her apartment in a silk robe. "Julian, what do I do? I'm freezing." He grabbed a gift bag meant for a client, shoved the cashmere scarf I'd knitted for him inside, a Christmas gift he'd never worn, and left. In his haste, he knocked a small bag off the entryway table. Tiny, pastel baby socks I'd bought on a hopeful, secret afternoon spilled onto the floor. He stepped over them without a glance, a small, preoccupied smile on his lips as he left to rescue her. I stared at the abandoned socks, a final, quiet confirmation. Then I went to his home office. I ignored the new framed photo on his desk, him and Sloane on a ski trip, faces pressed together. I approached the wall safe. Our anniversary, his birthday, mine, the dates didn't work. I keyed in Sloane's birthday, 0-4-1-2. The lock clicked open with a smooth, metallic sound. As I retrieved my passport and birth certificate, 2 faded slips of paper fluttered to the floor. Ticket stubs from a tiny indie cinema, our first official date. Before Sunrise, a double feature. I'd saved them for 9 years. I tore them into confetti and let the pieces fall into the wastebasket, then packed a single suitcase in the silent apartment. That evening, he called, his voice clipped. "I need the Henderson contract. It's on my desk. Bring it to me at La Perla. Now." Snow was falling heavily again. I bundled into my warmest, oldest parka and went alone. La Perla was all soft lighting and murmured conversations. When I entered, I found Julian and Sloane mid-toast at a central table, arms intertwined, champagne flutes held high. Their colleagues, my former colleagues, fell silent as I approached. Julian looked irritated. The others smothered smirks, leaning in for the expected scene. I remained composed. I handed him the folder. I need your car keys. I left my journal in the glove compartment. Sloane fished the keys to his Audi from her sequined clutch, giggling. Oops, sorry, Elise. I borrowed it today. Mine was in the shop. Don't be cross. She fluttered her lashes at Julian. Don't call her that, Julian said softly, using his thumb to wipe a drop of champagne from Sloane's lower lip. His gaze was utterly absorbed. He's right, Miss Thorne, I added smoothly. We aren't married. Elise is perfectly fine. I took the keys. As I turned, Julian called after me, confusion cutting through his annoyance. Elise, you're pregnant. The smell of liquor usually makes you ill. Why are you? Before I could answer, Sloane gasped dramatically, clutching his arm. Oh, Julian. Is she going for the pearl necklace in the car? I was admiring it earlier, and I think I left the clasp undone. I'm so sorry. The necklace had been my grandmother's. Simple, luminescent pearls on a silver chain. Julian soothed her, his eyes on me now hard. It's just a string of old pearls, Sloane. Don't distress yourself. I placed the car keys carefully on the white tablecloth. He's right. It's just a necklace I've worn for 9 years. If it means that much to you, consider it a gift. I walked out into the swirling snow. As I opened a rideshare app, Julian ran out after me, shrugging on his overcoat. He thrust a takeout bag into my hands. Fish soup. From that place you used to like. Your next OB/GYN appointment is tomorrow. I'll go with you. He said it like a king bestowing a favor. I lied smoothly. No, it's the day after. He opened his mouth to argue, then saw Sloane standing in the restaurant's doorway, hugging herself, a perfect portrait of fragile need. Immediately, he was moving back to her, taking her hands and warming them with his breath. I watched them retreat into the golden glow. I'd always hated fish soup. I left the container by a grateful stray cat and went home. He didn't come back that night. I didn't call. The next day, just as I was zipping my suitcase, he unexpectedly pulled into the driveway, marched inside, and without a word, steered me into his car. We're going to my parents'. It's time. We arrived at the sprawling Kensington estate. He ushered me into the grand foyer where his parents stood, regal and impassive. Mother, father, this is Elise. After 9 years, he was finally introducing me. The timing was so tragically comical. I'm sorry, I said, meeting their polite, curious stares. But I have an urgent prior commitment. Please excuse me. Julian's grip on my wrist was vice-like. She's joking. Just nervous. I'll show her around. He dragged me up the sweeping staircase to his old childhood bedroom, a shrine to his privileged youth. He gave a running commentary, pointing out trophies and model cars. My constant checking of my phone seemed to grate on him. Elise, you begged to see this room for years. Now you're here, and you're silent. What is so important on that phone? Nothing, I said. It's a lovely room. He grabbed my phone, trying to unlock it with his thumb. The screen flashed. Face not recognized. Shock, then anger, crossed his face. Just then, a sharp, musical squeal from the garden below drew his attention. He dropped my phone on the bed as if it burned him and bolted from the room without a word. After 10 minutes, I followed the sound of giggling to the vast, manicured back garden. Sloane was there, wearing a crown of winter ivy, balancing precariously on the stone retaining wall while Julian held her hands. Julian, hold me. Don't let me fall, she squealed. She slipped, landing in a dramatic, graceful flutter into his waiting arms. They paused, her face inches from his, smiling a secret, shared smile. Julian's smile vanished when he saw me. Oh, hi, Elise. Sloane chirped, not moving from his arms. The prodigal son finally brought the old ball and chain home to meet the parents. Congrats. Her words were sweet, but her eyes shimmered with theatrical tears, tugging visibly at Julian's sympathy. It's just dinner, Sloane. Don't overthink it, he told her, then glanced at me, his expression cooling. Is dinner ready? Before I could answer, a movement above caught my eye. Dozens of slender, black garden snakes, disturbed from their hibernation nook by the unseasonable warmth, rained down from the bare wisteria vines directly above us. Startled, I stumbled backward, my heart hammering. Sloane screamed, a genuine, piercing sound. Julian didn't look at me. He grabbed Sloane, tucking her protectively against his chest, and ran for the house, shielding her with his body. He didn't return until animal control had cleared the garden. By then, I was gone. The security guard told him I'd called a cab. At the airport, waiting for my flight, my phone buzzed relentlessly. I answered just before boarding. "Where are you?" Julian demanded, frantic. "None of your business." He paused, then his anger seeped through. "A pregnant woman shouldn't have emotional outbursts. It's bad for the baby. Give me your address. I'm coming to get you." In the background, Sloane's loud, playful laughter interrupted him. "Jules, come back. You're missing the fun." Julian's voice turned cold, professional. "There's a work emergency. Take a cab home. We'll talk tonight." He hung up. He texted once more. "Text me when you're home safe." I replied, "Julian, we're done. I hope you and Sloane are happy together." The read receipt appeared instantly. I blocked his number, his social accounts, every point of contact. Then I powered my phone off. "Auntie Elise. Over here." The moment I stepped into the arrivals hall in Burlington, my niece, Lily, came barreling toward me, a whirlwind of pink snow boots and flying brown pigtails. I scooped her up, burying my face in her cold, apple-scented cheek. My sister, Mara, stood behind her, arms crossed, eyes already glistening. "It's the middle of the night. Did I told you not to come?" I said, my voice thick. "You think I wanted to be here?" This little gremlin cried nonstop about her favorite aunt. Mara grumbled, pulling me and Lily into a crushing, three-way hug. Her gaze dropped to my flat stomach for a fleeting second, and a wave of pain flickered across her face. Before I could speak, she pinched my cheek. "Your skin and bones. Starting tomorrow, you're on a steady diet of my bone broth. No arguments." "Fine, fine," I said, a real smile touching my lips for the first time in months. I obey the queen. Holding Lily close, I followed them to the car. Even at 4 a.m., my parents were waiting in the living room, the kettle whistling. We sat with mugs of tea until the sky lightened to dove gray. After a scalding shower, I crawled into my childhood bed with its familiar quilt. Sleep found me instantly, a deep, dreamless void. No fear, no dread, no hollow ache in my chest. I was home. 3 days later, my parents organized a small welcome dinner in a private room at the Gables, our family's favorite rustic chic restaurant. Laughter and the clatter of cutlery filled the space. Midway through dessert, a delivery man entered, holding a small, elegant box with my name on it. Lily, expert in retrieving packages, skipped over. "Auntie Elise. It's from a Mr. Kensington." I hesitated, a cold knot forming in my stomach. Curiosity won. Inside, nestled on black velvet, was the latest model smartphone, sleek and silver. Before I could process it, the screen lit up and began to ring. Everyone fell silent. I excused myself and answered in the quiet hallway. Julian's icy voice filled my ear. "Elise, why did you run to your parents like a child without informing me?" "Why would I inform you?" Silence. Then he forced his tone into something approximating gentleness. "Your number was off for days. I was worried sick. This phone is so I can reach you. My old phone automatically blocks unknown numbers. So you tracked me down and had a phone delivered to my family's dinner." "Julian, are you out of your mind?" In 9 years, I had never spoken to him with such flat contempt. I imagined his face turning a satisfying shade of puce, but he didn't hang up. "Elise, you know my patience isn't endless. You should stop this while you're ahead." He inhaled slowly, audibly. "For the baby's sake, I'll forgive this little stunt. I've booked your return flight for next Thursday. Sloane and I will pick you up from the airport." I nearly laughed. "What baby?" Something clattered loudly on his end. "Elise, how dare you say something like that?" I looked down at the polished wood floor, my expression blank in the hallway mirror. The baby is gone. And so are we. He scoffed. Right. You're pretending to push me away to get a reaction.
Fine.
I'm sorry for making you take a cab that night. Happy now? I felt nothing, just a vast, calm emptiness. I don't need your apology. We're finished. I ended the call, removed the SIM card, and dropped both the card and the expensive phone into a nearby trash can. The dinner wrapped up late. My high school best friend, Claire, texted about a nightcap. I went home, changed into a simple black dress, and met her at a low-lit jazz bar called the Velvet Note. At 1:30 a.m., I was raising my second ginger mocktail when a hand snatched the glass from my grip.
Julian.
His expression was thunderous, his hair wind-tousled as if he'd driven fast with the windows down. Before I could even ask how he'd found me, he clamped onto my arm and hauled me to my feet. Who said you could drink? You're 8 months pregnant. His voice died abruptly. His gaze dropped, scanning my body. The fitted dress left nothing to the imagination. Flat. Slowly, his eyes lifted to mine, wide with dawning horror. Elise, where is the baby? I said nothing. His hands curled into fists, his whole body beginning to tremble. I'm asking you, where is our baby? My voice was quiet, clear in the hushed bar. Gone. He staggered back a step, the color draining from his face until he was gray.
No.
No, that's not possible. He looked genuinely shattered, and for a second, I almost admired the performance. 8 months ago, when I'd shown him the positive test, my hands shaking, he'd stared at it for a long, silent minute. Then he'd looked at me with that same cold calm and asked, Elise, are you sure it's even mine? When I tried to leave with Claire, Julian lunged, grabbing my wrist. His eyes were wild, desperate. I need the truth. I'm not letting you walk away until I get it. 5 minutes later, we were in his car in the deserted parking garage. He reached across me to fasten my seatbelt. I pulled back sharply. Ask whatever you need to ask right here. I'm not wasting more time. His hand dropped. Hurt flickered across his face, then vanished behind a wall of confusion. How? He asked quietly. How did the baby? I gave a hollow smile. What do you think happened? He thought hard, his expression clouding with manufactured regret. The snakes. At the estate. The shock, the fall, if you'd just waited for me, if you'd let me take you to the hospital. That was the moment any last, lingering filament of doubt snapped. I had made the absolute right choice. You're wrong, I said calmly. The baby wasn't lost that day. He stared, uncomprehending. I had a termination, the day of the car accident. You were with me at the hospital right before the procedure. His expression twisted. Then he laughed, a sharp, humorless sound. Elise, I'm not falling for that. You think I'll buy some dramatic lies so you can win this argument. Silently, I opened my own phone, pulled up the scanned medical records, and shoved the screen toward him. The official paperwork, the date stamp matching the accident, the procedure code, the discharge form signed by me alone. He scanned it, his eyes darting back and forth. He went parchment pale. Why? His voice broke on the word. I got tired of you. He let out a hollow, disbelieving laugh. 9 years. A baby. A wedding planned for next fall. And you're tired? Do you even hear what you're saying? I had asked myself the same question 2 weeks ago. It had been raining. A cold, relentless downpour. Julian had spilled red wine on his shirt at a charity gala and demanded I bring him a fresh one immediately. 8 months pregnant, soaked to the skin, I arrived at his hotel suite. I heard voices from the half-open bathroom door. Him and Sloane laughing. She was teasing him. You've gotten me all wet, Jules. A giggle. If Elise saw us like this, she'd probably faint. Might even go into early labor. 2 birds, 1 stone, right? Leo stepped firmly between us. She's done with you, Julian.
Leave. Now.
Julian's eyes never left my face. Elise, just come back. Anything you want. We'll get married tomorrow at the courthouse, if that's what you want. Just stop this. I stepped back, a wave of pure disgust rolling through me. Julian, this is the last time I will ever say this to you. We are done. Not in this lifetime. Not in the next. His face contorted, all pretense shattering. He lunged at Leo. They scuffled, a brief, graceless tangle of limbs that drew curtains twitching in nearby windows. I was finished. I placed myself between them and slapped Julian with every ounce of strength I had left. The crack echoed in the quiet street. "Are you done?" I asked, my voice trembling not with fear, but with a fury so pure it was almost serene. "If so, get in your car and leave." He just stood there holding his cheek stunned. "You hit me." It was a whisper of utter disbelief. "Hannah," he pleaded, slipping into the wrong name in his distress. "Elise. Tell me what I did wrong. Just tell me. Why are you being so cruel?" "You and I said, my breath forming a cloud in the cold air, "are completely different people. That's all there is to it." I took Leo's offered hand and let him guide me up the steps to my house. Julian fell to his knees on the pavement, great, shuddering sobs racking his body. "Don't go.
Please.
I've gone insane without you. That apartment. I see you in every corner. Elise, please." I paused at the door, looked back at the broken man on the sidewalk. "Julian, this isn't a movie. There are no do-overs." I turned the knob and walked inside with Leo. The solid oak door clicked shut behind us, sealing off the sound of his weeping. A month later, my new phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, with a New York City area code. "Hello, is this Ms. Elise Vance?" "Yes. This is City General Hospital. We're calling for Mr. Julian Kensington. You are listed as his only emergency contact." I cut the tired-sounding nurse off. "You have the wrong number. I don't know that person." "Ma'am, he was admitted last night following an overdose of sleeping pills. The situation is serious. We need." "Goodbye." I hung up. A moment later, a text arrived from Leo, who had rented the apartment above my parents' garage. "Hungry?
Come upstairs.
I'm making barbecue.
Even though it's January.
I have a heat lamp." 5 minutes later, I was on the small, snowy rooftop deck. Leo had strung up fairy lights and had a bag of sparklers ready. We ate pulled pork sandwiches, laughed until our sides hurt, and wrote our names in the air with fizzing sparks. As we gathered the plates to head down, he looked up. "Hey," he said softly, "it's a full moon tonight." I smiled, a genuine, easy smile that started in my heart and reached my eyes and followed his gaze. The moon hung round and luminous in the clear, cold, indigo sky, bathing the snowy rooftops in a serene, silver light. "Yeah," I said, leaning into the solid, warm comfort of his shoulder. "It really is."